Welcome to the Financial Flow. Please like and subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to stay up on our latest videos. DRC is a Central African nation that is the world's poorest country with a nominal GDP per person of only $500. As much as 71% of the country's population is living in utter poverty, with no access to safe drinking water, education, medical attention, or even limited access to food. Absolute poverty is an all-time high in this country. In the past, the Congo was a Belgian colony, and it was making progress toward becoming a thriving economy prior to 1960, when the country was taken over by the Congolese rebels. Belgian Congo was ranked as Africa's second most industrialized country in the 1950s. South Africa was the continent's first. Even though this country had many of the same social difficulties as South Africa, the country was becoming richer, and investments into industries and infrastructure meant that everyone's quality of life was getting better. It is also worth noting that natural resources such as gold, diamonds, oil and gas abound in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC. As a result of this, it is difficult to determine why the DRC could not have progressed in the same way as many other countries during the 1960s and the 1970s. This country has lagged behind economically. To examine this issue in its entirety, we must first examine poverty itself. A model known as Maslow's hierarchy of needs is commonly utilized in social studies. Persons who live in absolute poverty may not get the basic necessities like food, water, and shelter because of their poverty. Self-actualization wants, which are good to have but really should not be referred to as a need at all, can be found on top of all of these requirements, which include the need for safety and so on and so forth, until we reach the top of the hierarchy. Absolute poverty is defined as surviving on less than $2.20 a day in the United States. The most basic human needs aren't being met, even in places with the lowest cost of living. This is poverty in its most extreme form in the DRC. This is the level of poverty that people face every day like this. A brief side note, abject poverty, the type of poverty you read about in the news, is the type of poverty caused by having financial means well below the cost of living in a particular place. There are many people in the United States who live below the federal poverty line, which currently stands at $11,000 a year for a single person. This is a serious issue, and poverty in the United States should not be disregarded. Yet in DRC, this same $11,000 salary would make you a member of the 1%. Although comprehending poverty in terms of human needs is fascinating, it has nothing to do with the economics of DRC. Well, just like humans, economies have fundamental requirements that are quite easy to evaluate in terms of significance. Stability and confidence are the most basic demands of an economy, just as briefcase full of millions of dollars is of little value to someone left on a barren island without water. Considering the lack of confidence and stability in the country, natural resources in the Democratic Republic of Congo are significant because of what they represent at their most basic level. Located in Canada, this diamond mine is a massive industrial complex that makes optimal use of cutting-edge machinery and technology to harvest the valuable materials. These kinds of mines employ tens of thousands of people at extremely high wages, and they make enormous profits for the firms who own and operate them, as they should, given the hundreds of millions of dollars invested in their construction. To put it another way, the DRC's diamond mines aren't worth the same amount of money because there aren't any diamonds to be found in them. Believed their investments would be safe from corruption and the risk of a mine being seized by any one of the numerous civil conflicts. For this reason, employees are confined to using hand tools and extremely primitive technology, which implies that even while resources abound, extraction efficiency is lower and profits are lower than in a properly established industrial mine. To make matters worse, the only groups capable of operating and confidently holding these mines are the operational military powers, which have frequently resorted to employing child labor in order to obtain the resources they want. However, it should be known that the money generated by the sale of these brutally mined resources will not be used to create schools and infrastructure, but rather guns and tanks, which will further exacerbate the endemic bloodshed in this country. There must be an answer, right? Several international assistance groups, such as UNICEF and Doctors Without Borders, have significant operations in the DRC, Could this foreign aid be just what the Congolese economy needs to get back on track? Although foreign help might keep things running, it's not a cure-all for any of the problems in the world. Clothing and food are two of the most commonly donated items, typically coming from the wealthier countries. This is a wonderful effort that will help the Congolese people survive in the terrible conditions of their nation. In other words, if you want to sell clothing or food, you'll have to compete with a company charging $0 to do so. In order to compete with a zero-cost business in a country as poor as the DRC, I hope that everybody viewing this channel has a rudimentary understanding of economics, because small businesses are at the backbone of any economy. As any politician will tell you, foreign aid has a catastrophic effect on local entrepreneurs hoping to start their own businesses. The decision to withhold this aid, knowing that tens of thousands of people could starve, is a difficult one to make. So what's the answer to this problem? Fortunately, we know exactly what has to be done to restore the country's stability and confidence. Unfortunately though, we don't know how to go about it at all. Many groups in the DRC have adopted war and corruption as a way of life, and as we've seen, it's extremely difficult to stop the pattern. In July of 2019, 54 African countries signed on to create the African Free Trade Zone, which means that all African countries would be allowed to trade freely with one another, without any restrictions. There is excellent news. According to the model of the European Union, this contract is extremely important and it has a potential to lead to tremendous development in Africa. For all of Europe's war-loving past, the founding of the European Union has provided the area with the longest era of peace in its history. There is every chance that if this accomplishment can be reproduced in Africa, it will become the economic superpower that it was supposed to be, and in the process, lift millions from the bottom of the food chain. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Have a good one.